Okay. At illy, but he, ut erat as he was, capite velito, with his head covered up. Sine, sine, imperative. Halt, desist, he said. Fruitor, it's a deponent that takes the ablative. Let it enjoy duotino for a long time. Here's the ablatives it takes, these trophies. So, fortuna, said, cease. Fortune can enjoy for a long time these trophies, which ipso she herself has made. Effecti sequitur. I brought it about that he followed. You don't need an ut because, according to this, fac doesn't take an ut. So I hope you've got that. Et simul, and at the same time, unem e duobus, one from the two lacinius meas, ablatives, of my robes, exuo, that's the verb I took off. Same time, one from two of my robes, and eum, and him, propere hastily, vestio. We'll continue on decim, or I should say, or I covered him with one of these robes, the duobus licinius. And illico, adverb on the spot, lavacro, trado. I handed him over for a bathe, for a wash. Quod unctui, what was the oil? Quod what tersui, what was needed for wiping. Ipsi, myself, pre ministro, I administered these. Sordium, of the dirt. Enormum illuvium, this is the enormous amount of off-washings, basically, of dirt. Operos, with our work, ifrico, I rubbed away. Probe curatato, so it's having cared uprightly, I took proper care of him. Ad hospitium lassus, I was tired. Ipse fatigum, he himself was tired also. Ad hospitium, that's ad means going there. With most difficulty, that's a superlative. Sustenens, that's our present participle. So I was holding him up with most difficulty. Perduco, I led him to the end. Lectulo refrevio, I refreshed him in a bed. Apuleius does all of these two words together. Kibo satio, with enough food. Pocule mitigo, I softened him with a cup, probably of wine. Fabulous permocio, I soothed him with stories. That's an ablative plural. And yam, now already. Lubentia, that's a noun. That's an inclination for. Proclivis est, that's your adjective. With a sloping down or a proclivity for an inclination of talk and jokes and knowledgeable, even cavalier behaviour. Now, dicata this is like banter, it's got dico from talking. Now, with a timid banter, when he, imo, from the bottom, de pectora of his chest or his heart, an excruciable suspiritum, this is a torturous breathing, ducens leading, his dextra, his right hand, or it could just be any hand, savientem, that's a present participle accusative, with a savage to his savaging his forehead. Actually, it's like is an angry or savage forearm report. So he's beating his forehead with his right hand. Me miserum, that was like an adverbial accusative. Oh, me miserum. So woe is me, poor me, he said. Qui dum, who, while the pleasures of a gladiatorial, another double genitive, of the spectacle of a gladiatorius, satis, which is enough, fama garabilis, which is a fame-bearing, the pleasures of a fame-bearing gladiatorial spectacle. Enough, consector, I was following this, into these arumnus, into these troubles in sede I fell. Nam, for, as you know well, secundum quaestionum, a favourable prophet, Macedonium, that's accusative, so he's going there, profectus, I had set out, that's a past passive, so I set out the Macedonian, dum, while in the 10th month, which is inclusive, so that's 9 months of ours, ibidem, in the same place, tentus numatior, numismatics, so that's coins, so I stretched out my coins, he'd probably got more coins, revortor, I was going home. Monaco Press, a little bit before prior quam, Akidram, before I'd came to Larissa, per transitum spectaculum obituaris. I was going to see a spectacle. I was transiting through. There was going to see a show in a certain avia. Via is a road. This is like out of the way place. Avia, away from a road, a certain place away from the roads, and a lacunosa convalia. This is like a valley with holes, like there's lots of holes in it for some reason. By vastissimus, by superlative, by a vast bandits, probably by a lot of bandits, obsessors. I was besieged, past passive again, and omnibus privatus, and I was deprived of omnibus, of everything, and at last I evaded. And inasmuch as, that's an adverb, ultime advectus, I was affected for the worst, basically, ultimately, to a certain inn, Meronum, that's a Greek accusative again, it's probably the name of the inn or the innkeeper, Annam, an old woman, but ad modem, but like fully diminutive of attractive, she's a little bit attractive fully, devoto, that's where he's turned in to stay at this inn. And and to her, the causes and peregrinationis diuturnae. This is the foreign travellings for a long time. So he told her the causes or the reasons in this long time of travelling, and that means homeward bound, and the anxieties of going home. Well, he was anxious to go home, and of his despoliations of when he was robbed for a long time, and while misery, these miserable things refer. I was referring them to her. Quae me nimis, which me with nimis quam humane is excessive amount of humaneness, basically, as much humaneness, it's a lot stronger than satis, tractare a daughter. So she arose, basically she's assailing him to handle him with excessive humanity of dinner, gratia, of a pleasing dinner, and gratuitate, means it's free, and soon Uragine Poseidon. She was excited by lust, that's a third. Cubilae sui applicit. She folded me up to her bed, basically. She applied me to a bed. Et statim miser. And immediately the wretch, as when I rested with her, when I slept with her, ab unico congress, from this one congress. Now we're going into adjectives, and osam, which is years long, and pestilentum, this customary. I was drawn into this customarily years long and pestilence, and ipsas etiam, like, and even these clothes, even which the good bandits. Okay, we've got a gerund here, which were used for covering me, as our dative. I conceded them. So this has got the N there, so this is the plural, which even these good bandits had conceded for covering me. Contulae in em, I conferred unto her. The operulas etiam, which ad hoc, which the operulas even, which was still vegetatus, is like briskly or energetically sex, making it was a sack maker or something, Meribam, which he had earned, the operulas which he had still earned from energetically making these sacks, until me ad istem faciem, to this face or appearance, which a little before vidisti I'd seen as a good wife, and bad fortune led me unto this appearance. Okay. Have we got that? Paul, by Pollux, even indeed, you are worthy, I said, for you to sustain such extreme, to be treated in such a way with such extremities. If what is, nevertheless, or yet, or still, that's most recent thing. So if this is the extremius, how should I put this in English? This thing is which has happened most recently, that's a comparative, this is an apposition here, so we've got the Venerian pleasures, or the pleasures of Venus, and Scortum, which is a whore, like a meretrix. Scortium, that's of leather, and this leathery whore, Laurae and Liberus Praes Julius. Prefero Tuli Latus, if you prefer to your home gods, or this is the god in your fireplace, and your children. So if we go back over this, so if you prefer these most recent things, and in the pleasures of Venus and this old whore, you prefer to your household and your children. At illi, but he, a digitum, a pollis proximum, the finger was next to his thumb, ad movens, present participle, to his mouth, and into a stupor, and it's like stunned into a stupor. Silence, he said, and present participle, looking around for a means of safety in his words. Okay, so we've got all that going on. He continues, Parque, be sparing, he said. In feminam divinam, that's towards, because it's in with the accusative. Towards this divine or heavenly woman. Nequam, it's an indeclinable adjective. This worthless or evil tongue to you. If that's ablative, and that's ablative. This worthless, intemperate tongue that you shall draw. This is like something noxious, something evil to you. Okay. Are you saying, in a question, tangent isn't at length or at last. It's are you just saying, it's more like that. So you're saying, I said, potens illa in regina corpona, quid mulieres. She is powerful and a queenly innkeeper. What this woman is? A witch, he said, and divine, potens, calum, deponere. She's powerful enough to place down the heavens. Here's these two word things again. Lift up the earth, fontes jurae. Harden the springs, delure the montes. Wash away the mountains. Sublimere, lift up the spirits of the dead. Dios infirmare. It's like to lower the gods. Sidera extinguere, to extinguish the stars. Tartorum itself, which is like hell itself. Illuminare, to light up Tartarus itself. Orote, I beg you, I said. Orlum tragicum da movere, separate or move away this tragic. No, it's more like a curtain of wind. And complicado. And fold up this is another curtain of the stage. These is like things that you can figure out for yourself. And cedo, and put this into common words. And cedo, I hope I'm not confusing people. Vis inquit, do you want, he said, one or another, or more precisely, to hear more deeds of hers? For ut se ament, afflict them. For these are affected so that they love her, not only the inhabitants, virum, but even the Indians or the Ethiopians, both types, or the Antioch, whoever the hell these are themselves. These are the leaves of her art, or this is the petals of her art, and are mere nothing. Sed quod in conspectu pluribus perpetravit audi. But what in the sight of many she perpetrates. Listen to these.